Let's talk a little bit about gloves for calisthenics. And all right, so they're a little bit, dirty now because I had them today, and it's rainy, and there's a lot of mud right now in the park, so it's not the nicest thing. But first I'll explain why you have gloves when you're doing calisthenics. Now, you don't have to have gloves when you do calisthenics, but you will get these blisters on your hands. I don't know if you can see that. I will film that later. You'll get these blisters and all that, which is fine. It makes you tougher, which is good. And for grip work, you gotta have a good grip here, on the tree, or whatever it is, on the bar. But sometimes it simply hurts too much, and so you can use gloves or a towel or something to make it softer. Now, you don't have to do this, but if you want to, use it. And I switch around, I'm gonna go back now to leave them. I'm gonna use more of my hands because I want to have tougher hands. I want to work my hands more, and wrists much more. And so I'm actually, gonna use less and less of these. But these are very good. These red ones are very good. These blue ones are not as good. All right. So at first I tried these, garden gloves, and it depends on which ones you have. But if they're thin, they're pretty much useless. If they are, tougher, there are some really tough ones. They can actually work very well for calisthenics, actually. So those are, garden gloves. But then I have these calisthenics gloves, and, I will show these later as well, but like this. But, the threads here, it just doesn't work as well. They get torn very easily. And this plastic here, there should be like plastic here, but it's pretty terrible quality, so you gotta check the quality. It has to be sturdy, not this soft. It should be more textile. It should be like these, basically. It should be tougher here. It should be tough here, but but it should also be a little bit softer, so that you can, so that it's softer on the bar. So these red ones are really good, but they actually came with, which is pretty dangerous. They came with some so that you could pull out your gloves easily, There was like small bands here, and I had to cut them. You should just, if you have that, cut it, because it's pretty dangerous. You can lose your fingers. You gotta just have it like this, nothing else, just for your fingers open like this, and so that you don't the same thing with rings. You don't use rings when you do this, of course. It's pretty dangerous. All right, so gloves, it's not that important for calisthenics, but it is pretty good. It is pretty good. And you look a little bit more badass when you use this. You look and you can see that you're training, people can see that you're training, but it's not all about that stuff. It's mainly about training. But of course you want to show off a little bit. Most people don't train like this. Most people don't do this, all right? So by merely doing this, you're way different than most people, like 90% or more, Most people, 95, 99% of people don't do this. Very few people do calisthenics, and then calisthenics in the park, even fewer do this, because I'm the only one I've seen do this in the park, in my town. Now, of course, there are other, towns, and, there are some places for calisthenics, but actually there is not a place for calisthenics outdoors. That's why I am in parks. But I enjoy that. I enjoy that a lot. So there is not much else to say about gloves. All right, so I will see you tomorrow.